Hello and welcome to the 2025 first edition of the Madaxeman podcast, in which I'm joined by three people. Dave from the podcast, who you'll know well, Marxist Ming the Marxist Dave, who some of you may know well, and Mark all the way from Bristol, Mr. Pendragon Rules writer, future war commander, Cold War commander, that sort of thing as well. And in this one, we all talk about our experiences, our culinary experiences and our gaming experiences, you'll be relieved to know, in Alicante, as well as wittering on about some general hobby stuff, as well as we make a tentative return to the world of podcasting. So, as is now traditional, please sit back and enjoy the podcast.
This means war.
Well, after a delay, or a break, which probably counts as an interregnum, I think, in biblical time, we're here again with another Madaxeman podcast and a cast of either two or three Daves and a Mark, as well as my good self. And one of the Daves is a picture of a goat over my right shoulder, or possibly left if the screen is mirroring weirdly on Zoom. But other than that, we've got regular contributor, Mr. Saunders, dialing in from northeast London.
Hello, northwest London.
Northwest London. Yeah, it's reflected, isn't it? You always get a
You
mirrored
live
image.
in West London, and I live wester than you.
Yeah, I suppose you do actually. Yeah, West London, and Dave A, aka Ming the Merciless, with your space backdrop and your wonderful goatee beard. Which galactic empire are you planning on corrupting or taking over in the next week, Dave?
Oh, I'm thinking definitely I'll take over the Swiss Empire.
The Swiss Empire, yes, indeed. All 13 cantons of it, which we can go into later. And then Mark, beaming in from the furthest west of them all, I think, in sunny, leafy Bristol.
Hardly sunny Bristol, I'm afraid. Sort of damp, grey, and cold Bristol compared to the lovely heat and sunshine of Alicante, for example.
Alicante did. Has that weather blown through you yet, or is it still soaking you?
It's not. It's a bit windy, but the rain has gone. It's passed us by and heading up the coast. So so hopefully we'll have a nice day tomorrow.
Good. Well, I suppose a bit windy is another Alicante tie-in for those of us who went for the rice-based meal on Sunday after the competition finished. But maybe we won't come back to that one. So we've got a sort of almost a theory. Well, we've got a common theme here because we've all literally just come back from, and I think all of us have already mentioned, the epic tournament in Alicante, which has become one of the kind of regular starts of the year. It's sort of still cold and miserable here, and it's very cheap to get to Alicante. So, in fact, Mr. Allen, this is your fifth Alicante. Is it?
Yeah,
did you get like a freebie thing for going for 5 times?
I think didn't we all get a War Wagon? And
we all got an unpainted one, but
yeah, I got mine fixed and painted, which means that it's the only War Wagon I have that's out of several that's actually properly done. But yes, it's very nice.
Anybody got the artillery War Wagon?
No,
because I can't tell whether the barrel's got ammunition attached in the casting, or it's supposed to be a gun firing with.
Oh, it's a gun firing, Dave. It's supposed to be a cloud
out of the front. Yeah.
It's got a puff of smoke coming out of it. Oh, that's where you'll be snipping that off, then, won't you? I imagine. That looks a bit weird.
For a minute, it was the ammunition coming out of the barrel. You had to sort of dislocate it, but
snip it off. Cool. But no, Dave, Dave A. I'll just call you Ming the Merciless. Ming, you've been to 5 of these things, then, haven't you?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been to 4. One of which was in the sort of a garage basement under a block of flats. One was in the middle of the town, in a rather seedy hotel, and then the last 2 have been in the world's most airport hotel, but actually a really good venue for playing toy soldiers. But so, which one did I miss? Was there which one did I?
There were 2 in the garage.
I thought we'd been both in the garage.
Well, if you didn't get the painted War Wagon, Dave, you've clearly not been to 5. You must have missed one.
I'm just going to get the dice out and count the dice.
Different coloured dice. Yeah, how many special dice you get for it? And Mark, was this your first one, or no? Did you come last year?
No, this is number three. First
Number
one was
three.
horrific. I ended up bouncing along the bottom by taking a Norman army to a competition full of armored horse archers. So that was the end of that. But the second one was that was in the not so great hotel in the middle. Second one, was better. And the third, this one has so far has been the best one for me. So
you've been successful. Yeah, excellent. And in the past, Team Central London have done epic trips across Spain, or increasingly epic trips, as we've exhausted all of the. Oh wow, you've got four different coloured dice there, so you must have been 4 times. But we've done increasingly epic trips. We done. I did Valencia, where we did Valencia for a day or so, and then we came down and a good little museum in Valencia, and then came down the coast road and stopped at that amazing castle on top of 2 mountains.
With Howard, that was quite fun.
With Howard, to stagger up that. And then last year we started miles away, didn't we? We started in Seville and went to Cordoba and Cordoba and what was the other? Granada, and which was just pretty epic. And that's where we went to the motorway service station with the giant dildos in the vending machine, which is the most memorable part of it, I think, trip-wise. But that was just a long, long way away. And then, and this time, me and Mr. Saunders went a day early and went to Cartagena, which I'm making it sound a bit Japanese there, but Cartagena, old Carthage. And we touched some Hannibalic walls, which was kind of remarkable. And we were in an Airbnb that was opposite the Rome and Carthage Cosplay Society, I think it was, if you translated it, wasn't it? There he is. There's a picture of Hannibal Barker. There's a big bust of Hannibal at the end of the road where our Airbnb was on.
He's looking very mean and moody in the lit from below, like a bad Hammer House of Horrors Hannibal.
In the evening light, yeah. But I thought Cartagena.
It also looks like he's got these fabulous feathers coming out of his.
That's a helmet, I think.
Yeah, no, I think that's the plan behind it.
I'm trying to find the other picture. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Hold on.
There's another one coming up. Is that what we got?
Scipio's. Hang on, here we go. Let's get this.
It was Scipio. Yeah, so it had one of the two. So I guess you could choose which side you were on.
Scipio was looking a bit weird, actually.
Yeah, Scipio. Yeah, Scipio had eaten something, hadn't he? And lost
that's
all his
in
hair.
daylight. It was the night before with Hannibal.
Yeah, Scipio was not. I think clearly whoever the sculptor was a Carthaginian fan and not a big fan of the Roman invasion, quite possibly.
Apparently, half the town are Scipio and half the town are Hannibal.
Yeah, they've got 2 football teams, Scipio FC and Hannibal United. But it was a surprisingly cute little town, actually, wasn't it? It was.
Yeah, it's good.
We had some good food, good tapas, and some bonkers museums.
Oh, hang on, here's a bit to the bar.
Oh, you got bits of the bar. Yeah. We actually sat there and watched somebody.
Hold on, share it properly. There you go. That's the bar from Friday night. That was kind of cool.
How old school do you get? It's like and we got there in between the rain, and had a fair old bit of tapas, and then we did a museum ticket thing where you buy a ticket from like 4 different attractions, or you can buy it for 10, or we bought for 4, and but it turned out that you had to tell them which attractions it was, and we tried to go to the wrong one, and we had to
it's like the whole town is like an attraction, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of Roman stuff. They've got an enormous Roman. Now, you were correcting me, Dave. Is it an amphitheater or
a? So there's a theatre.
There's a theatre, yeah,
and then there's an amphitheater. But the amphitheater looked like it used for bullfighting too much.
Yeah, it had been a Roman amphitheatre that had been converted to bullfighting, and then so definitely seen better days. But the theatre was just huge, cut into the cliff in the middle of town.
I'm trying to find the picture of the theatre. No.
And then there was a castle right at the top of the hill that was sort of medieval, that was just big blocks, but didn't actually have that much in it other than quite a good view. And it was a little bit disappointing. And then they talked about the Muslim conquest sort of in passing at the end of it. It was sort of 1,000 years of history was just glossed over. But in about three panels. And then, best of all, they had an artillery museum, which was completely mad. In that it had a lot of very weird big guns in it and a handful of tanks.
Well,
but
we can share the
best of all.
We can share the artillery.
Yes, had the world's weirdest Dalek, some sort of metal-clad railway gun.
Ready when you are with the you know what.
Yeah, and then there was quite a lot of other stuff which I can possibly try and find. Let's see, where was it? Yes, it had the Guinness Book of Records world's largest collection of model tanks and associated military vehicles, which are all
as a war
like airfix kits and stuff. Yeah, we were like, we're going straight into that one. And starting from Spanish Civil War stuff knocked together, all roughly 1/72nd scale. I think all of them must have been.
There must have been
100,
because they were smaller than an airfix. Because I remember
not a lot. They might. I think they were airfix or smaller. They weren't 1/144th scale because they'd be teeny tiny. And I've got a load of those, but just one of each of every mark of tank from every nation in the world, from every theatre of war, up to a total of 2,500 or something, and some completely mad ones. Like, look at that
tank with 3 turrets and a Katyusha on the back.
That's actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 turrets, one of which has got a Katyusha mark.
Turrets, yeah.
You missed a turret in the middle and the turret on top of the turret, so it looks like just completely insane. And the bloke who
it's the length of it. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Well, it was unbelievable, but it's whether these are supposed to be real things or not. I don't know.
Be real.
Yeah, quite possibly. But I think the real highlight of it was where's the guy gone? So this is our hero, folks. This is the guy, Francisco Sanchez Abril. All hail Francisco Sanchez Abril, who made and fairly averagely painted, if we're fair, or generous possibly, all 2,568 tanks and armored fighting vehicles. And does he look happy at that achievement of getting in the Guinness Book of Records?
No, not particularly.
If you walked into this bloke's tapas bar, you'd be, we might not stay for. We'll maybe not leave that. But
what worries me about the picture, he's one of the friends of the historical museum.
Yes.
What are the rest like if he's the friend?
What are the rest like? Yeah. And then he got the world record in 99, and then with 1,800 vehicles, and then he extended it by 700 a few years later, which was just like completely bonkers. So there was some completely weird stuff there that I will put up on a separate video because it would take forever to go through them because there's a lot of them. And then we chugged over to Alicante, to Hotel Dania, where Dave and Mark, you were already well in. You guys were in the bar meeting the world. There was like everybody was there, wasn't there?
Yeah, I've been there since 11 o'clock, having got up at 3:30 to catch a flight from Bristol. So, I did. They did actually let me in my room by about 2 o'clock, so I could end up with having a couple of hours of kit before we started throwing dice at. Was it 7? I think it was.
I think it was, wasn't it?
Draconian regime of getting us to actually play a game on the Friday night. Very Britcon. Yeah.
And Mr. Allen, did you stick on the beer, or did you get onto the red wine, or was it one where you got onto the shorts before gaming?
I think I was mostly beer that night.
Yeah.
So and that's okay. I mean, it doesn't make me happy.
Yeah. And there was a parade, wasn't there? There was a weird schedule that I don't think we got fully translated.
Cavier's Special Forces, you're all on parade. It's a Paella.
Yes.
Being English, we're expecting an Paella and a Colditz style, but parade was not fancy dress marching up and down the room. It was more show up and stand in the line. Report for action.
I missed that.
Yeah. Right. Okay. And we when we took a variety of different armies, or not as much variety as that, and so I don't. Mr. Allen, we should probably do this as a double header, shouldn't we? But I'll ask somebody else first. So, Dr. Saunders, what was your theory? What was your approach? What army did you pick?
I took French Ordnance.
Because this was a high medieval period, wasn't it? Essentially.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, it was high medieval and only Western Europe. Yeah, it was kind of it was Europe, so there was no funnies, no elephants, no camel, no.
But you had Ottomans and Byzantines running around as well.
Yeah, so Istanbul, there were Ottomans. I mean, overall, it was kind of. I did a couple of practice games before the competition and discounted the Ottomans I'd taken warfare, only to find the entire competition was full of Hungarians and Ottomans.
Yeah, there was a lot of that, wasn't there?
But saying that, I think I fought one Ottoman army, one Burgundian, one French, or two medieval Spanish.
Okay.
And something else I've
forgotten already in the last 3 days.
Yeah.
So you did quite well only fighting one sort of cloud of nonsense army then out of that with your own heavy metal army.
Yeah, but the heavy metal army I thought was, I mean, I won the first 3 games, then got a mutual destruction. Then I think I lost the 4th game to an Ottoman, then got a mutual destruction against the French army. And then, that's right, I played the first game I played a Hussite army, which was funny because neither me nor my opponent knew the rules. No, that's unfair. Mr. Daniel Garcia knew the more or less.
Yeah.
But at one point I did charge a war wagon in the open light for and we had to replay that bit and go back a bit, but it was okay. It was kind of a grinding match, and what he didn't want fight, Pike. That's teeing you, Tim, for coming up in a bit. So I won that game on Friday night. Then I played 2 medieval Spanish armies, and that medieval Spanish is one of my old favourite armies, so that's so bad. Then it was another French ordnance, which was a mutual destruction and was good fun. With a really nice French guy I've never met. Well, I think I've met him, but never played him. He really enjoyed that game, and I did it. I killed all 3 of his generals in that game. That was fun.
Wow. Okay.
Then I lost to Rafa final game. Rafa was quite friendly about it, but I think I screwed it up more than Rafa won it. There you go. I mean, but my army, I put it on screen. It was.
This is your list. So let's have a look at your list. So
the bog standard French army.
1479. Is there anything clever in this? Which bit was clever? What was the cute bit?
An ordinary included general with 3 knights and a handgunner. And he's unreliable.
Yeah, okay.
And I've got another Swiss ally with the pikemen, the halberdiers, and he was allied. So I had 2
potentially unreliable.
Yeah, and all my generals in every single game behaved themselves, which was really good.
Wow!
This bad behaviour on my generals, kind of cool.
So your Swiss is 3 pikemen, 2 halberdiers, and some bits and bobs. Then,
the interesting thing is it's hard to get. I like to try and get 23 in an army. I got 22, but got 3, 5, 9. It's a proper hard army. It's a proper hard army. It leads in like third and things like that.
So what was in the main one? Let's have a proper look at this. So you didn't go for the mixed spear longbow, or is that the different army?
No, you're not allowed those French horse. That's
Burgundian.
That Rafa's army. That was
Burgundian ordnance. So you had 2 heavy knight impact elite, 3 medium swords longbowmen. Your textbook Dave's special mediocre crossbowman.
Yes.
A heavy cavalry impact lurkabout, a light horse, and a couple of light infantry. So that's really 3 longbowmen and 2 gendarmes and a pokey cavalry, isn't it?
I mean, it's a Swiss army knife, blah blah blah. Depending on what you're facing, I mean, you should be able to outshoot things with 4 shooters if it's shooting match. The mounted crossbow and the mounted heavy cavalry impact team up to go wide, piss somebody around in a heavy. That's which worked really well against the other 4 friends. Unfortunately, when I played Rafa just outshot my longbowmen and my crossbowmen more longbowmen. But it performs really well. It's textbook stuff. The knights can team up with the pike and be a really heavy bruising thing.
Did you find you were playing armies that were constructed similarly to this?
The French ordnance army I played was very different.
Really? Okay.
It had one command of, instead of my Swiss, if you can imagine, it was internals. So it's 3 Swiss with an included general, 2 mediocre pike, 2 light foot crossbow crossbow and 2 light guns.
Wow. Okay.
It's really interesting little commands. Yeah.
That was Dave Anthony Leroy's army that I faced in the first game.
Was he the tall French guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a good player. He knew what he was doing.
So how did you both find fighting 2 light guns? Because you don't normally see lights, do you?
He shot my Swiss general got shot dead by the light guns.
Did you put them together or spread them up?
I think I rallied him once. They both shot at him repeatedly over and over again.
Didn't you say, Dave, that he put the guns in front of the pike? Because, of course, the pike can move through the guns with no penalty. So effectively, it's like having another longbow unit, two longbow units, but cheaper. I mean, admittedly, they don't have stakes and swords, but they are reducing to 0.
Dice roll +1 again. You've got to match that die roll.
Yeah.
And I didn't match it 4 times. I rallied the general once, but he went and died on. But then I managed to kill all 3 of his general games. So battalion was pure. So
Ming the Merciless. How did you do against it? How did he deploy it like that against you?
No, I rather foolishly put down an impassable on one flank and tried to get past it with those 2 artillery shooting at me. It's so painful. So yes, that was.
So you gave them an even better target.
Yeah, and also I felt I misinterpreted his longbowmen as longbowmen rather than medium sword longbow, and so when I tried to attack them uphill, they were
a lot better. I actually had that as well. It was a good job you told me. I think this is this thing about the word fantassin, isn't it? It's in the French, what is classified as swordsman in the English one is classified as fantassin, which doesn't really translate as swordsman. It just is infantry. So generic infantry in the French rules are swordsmen in the English rules, because there isn't can't put generic infantry with stuff, because it wouldn't really fit in the army list book or something like that. But yeah, I think I had to clarify that with someone before, and they were like, it doesn't quite translate properly.
Well, it's not a mistake I'll make again.
No, exactly. You'll know how that absolutely gets translated. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Dave, did you find any armies that had something clever that surprised you generally in the way it was played?
That French ordnance with a light gun is different. The Hussites is always different.
Yeah.
The 2 Spanish armies were as expected. I kind of dealt with those quite easily. The Ottoman army, it shot. If I put the pike in the middle and my knights on the left, it might be better.
So what? Because again, I fought a couple of Ottoman armies and they were quite unusual. I thought.
We played the same guy.
Aliman Antonio or something.
He's a good player. He knows what he's doing. Good player, yeah. I think you're going to move on. He had 2 elite pet troops, so he had a big meat foot.
Yeah.
And again, if I put if I put the pike in the middle and the knights on the left, I would have probably given more problems. But he was always shoot down pike the cavalry. I think that's one of the problems. Shoot cavalry pike.
Eventually, before they run out of table. Yeah. Mark, is that something you'd seen as well?
Yeah, so I played, I think it's pronounced Xavier, isn't it, who came a second with his Ottoman. And his Ottoman was, again, very interesting on the basis that it was almost all elite. Nice, really nice list. The Ottoman, I mean, the thing that was really clever, he had this tiny little command of 2 allied Albanian Stradiots with an integral general, both elite. So you effectively get, and he was using it all the time for flank marches. Yeah. So you get a flank march for 8 points effectively, because ordinary and it's integral and it's allied, and and then you've got the 2 elite light cavalry at 7. So, but the whole thing comes out at 8. So that was good. In the game against me, it didn't come on, but it had done previously in some of the other games. And that was good. And it was the interesting thing I would say about the Ottomans, as I say, was all the cavalry except for the Akinji, the 4 compulsory light cavalry were elite. Plus, he had is it pronounced Ayalas? The
medium infantry,
fanatic. He had, but they're elite as well. 3 elite janissaries, and then I think 1 or 2 skirmishers. And he bought the strategist and had some really beautifully made ambush markers with corn, with things hiding in the corn. But of course, he has 3 of them, and so he can hide the whole of that foot command. And you just and again, if you've not come up against it before, you're thinking to yourself, well, it's going to be full of janissaries, but you weren't expecting the Ayalas. So it was a good game. It was a close game, even though in the end he did beat me. But very enjoyable. But it was the clever use of the ambushes and the fanatics that was the real thing. Anyway, I took the Hungarian, and it's one of my favourites.
Just going back to the Ottomans one bit. Ask the other two guys. Do you think the use of the Ayalas, the two impetuous swordsman elite, was something that only really worked because it was a heavy metal medieval period, or because I tried to use them up in Scotland a couple of years ago, and I just found they weren't enough, because I'd end up running into bigger infantry armies and they weren't actually able to do anything, or they get shot by longbowmen or something or whatever. And I've never really, I thought I was being clever and unique 2 years ago, then I ditched it, and I thought they just didn't work with the rest of the army, because they anchor it somewhere where you're going to attack with infantry when it's an army that moves around and shoots. But I don't know, what does everybody think? Are the Ayalas something you now look at and go, oh, that's starting for an Ottoman thing? Or
against me it was pointless, because I'm all cavalry. Yeah. So they appeared out of ambush. I hit them in the flank with some heavy cavalry Zeklers, and that was the end. Right. One of them, and the other one I shot to bits. So it wasn't helpful, because I didn't have the heavy metal. No. And he was having to. What I also did was throw up my light cavalry command, turn it around so that it's facing away. So he has to dice to stop it charging them. So because of course cavalry presenting their rear are a compulsory target.
Wow.
Yeah.
God,
so
what a game! I never knew you had such a gamey player, Mark. I thought you were one of the nice guys.
Yeah. Well, when you've got a command of 6 light cavalry bow, you
got to know the rules.
Well, and of course I can sit in front of him at 2 and shoot the buggers. So he's got to do something. So it was to pull him off the hill, basically. But I'd imagine, it'd be interesting to hear what the others got to say. But I'd imagine if I'd had something with pikes or heavy spearmen, I would have been in real trouble with them.
Okay, Dave, the Ming the Merciless. What do you think about Ayalas? Did you come up against them? Did you think?
I played Ottoman quite a bit in V3, and I agree with you. It doesn't feel right within the overall thrust of the army. This idea that you've got an army that's largely mounted, largely shooting, and then you've got some high quality foot that can snipe and shoot from cover.
Yeah.
And these guys you can't actually control.
No, do anything like that. Yeah. But into this particular pool, though, this particular theme, did they become an auto-attack? Is that what made the Ottomans viable in this theme, or would the Ottomans be viable in this, or playable aggressively?
I can see them working against medium sword bow.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Against the ubiquitous longbowmen.
Yeah, them and massed spearmen or massed pikemen.
Yeah.
But as I say, you're right, Tim. There are only 2 of them. But then if you put them in the command with the janissary, all of its elite, as in the case of Xavier's, it suddenly sort of develops a sort of life of its own, and it moves fast. That's the other thing. So it's moving at 3 all the time. Xavier put down a reasonable amount of terrain. So there were woods, there were what else? A hill as well, and he was using the terrain because he had a strategist to give him advantage. So he moved the hill back to allow him to put the janissaries and the Ayalas in ambush. So it was pretty obvious something was there, and it was going to be substantial.
Something chunky.
It could have been a load of more heavy cavalry. So
Mr. Saunders, what's your thought on Ayalas? Was it event specific or interesting?
Well, considering this was like a late medieval heavy metal competition, so I've got 2 chains of thought here. Is that you don't go medium foot at all, I think what they've done is they've gone quite strongly with medium foot in a late medieval competition where they are depending on the terrain falling right for them, and that's where Mark's the guy who came second had the strategy to move terrain where he wanted to. But a lot of people will just complete scout foot. But again, this is the era of the medium longbow swords.
Which is such a good troop type.
It is a really good troop type. But what trumps that is impetuous medium foot elite and janissaries. So I think what they've done is they've designed an army, the Ottoman army designed to beat the longbow swords.
Yes. The other army that had a fair amount of medium impetuous swordsman was Phil, I can never remember Phil's second name. The English chappie, yeah.
Phil Hackney.
Hackney, thank you.
Hackney,
yeah. So he had his Scots Islanders and Highlanders, and he bought the Galwegian Command. And he said when it worked, in other words, when he could actually hit things, it just ripped longbowmen to bits. Absolutely. Yeah. Obviously, they're not elite. You've got one elite out of the 6, but you can have 6 of them. And I think that was probably the biggest number of impetuous medium foot in the competition.
Yeah. So consensus.
The army that won the competition, Catalan Company.
Yeah.
Which is again but that's medium infantry that can stand in the open, given a bit of luck.
Yeah, because it's got
nice, but true. Possibly.
So weirdly enough, a late medieval competition was probably won by me.
Yeah, I think that I saw that army list. It's got only had 2 lots of 4, I think, Amugavas.
That's still quite a lot.
Still a good number, I suppose. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, talk us through your list and your list thoughts.
So medieval Hungarian Black Army. It's an army I like because it's sort of really got those 2 bits to it. It's got a core of 6 elite heavy knights impact, which are extremely forgiving, which is what I like. They do the business. This army I've used a number of times in different competitions and done well or not so well with it. Early on, it was not so well because I hadn't quite got the hang of the light cavalry. But you've got 3 Serbs in there, impact, elite, light cavalry, which gives you the thing that frightens any enemy light cavalry. And then this time I added a couple of Zekla heavy cavalry in, so heavy cavalry bow elite. And again, did exactly what we talked about earlier. At least 2 games where I wandered up in front of a pipe block and just blew it to bits, which was quite helpful. And then masses of light cavalry. Now, Dave and I had a bit of a chat before the game, and Dave was going, "Well, go for a small light cavalry." And I think with division, whereas I went for quite a big one, I've got that sort of trick that I learned off Ming the Merciless of sort of 6 light cavalrymen, front rank elite with an embedded general that moves around really like a shooting platform. Should have been great. It got shot to bits by Rafa's longbowman. I can't even remember how many longbowmen he had, Dave, but I think he must have had about 4 longbow. Loads.
And 4 longbow sword with stake and 2 heavy
mixed unit.
Mixed unit and a mediocre pike.
Yeah, that's it. And going anywhere near it was just fatal, But he was doing this thing again of having he had a brilliant general because the Burgundians not allowed a strategist, quite rightly, and then 2 ordinaries, and I fought probably 3 armies that were constructed that way, which was quite interesting. But the idea here basically is, the light cavalry in the Hungarian can do damage by shooting, and actually the Serbian hussars were great. I caught a couple of medium foot in the open and went straight through them like a knife through butter. I hit a longbow unit in the flank and it just disintegrated because, of course, they've got ferocious charge. And as I say, the knights are really forgiving. I mean, they'll fight on almost endlessly because they've got the elite and the armor. I played a late Imperial German, which was a very odd construction on the basis he had no knights mounted at all, a couple of foot knights, and had bought heavy cavalry impact, and he bought the bog hoppers, the cantons. And again, so that was the first game on the Friday night. I was knackered. It was a very close game, but I won it. I then hit Rafa, and that was the end of that. It was a good game. I took 17 off Rafa, which I can't complain of. And then I faced I think partly because, again, the light cavalry did do damage. The longbowman did take some casualties, as did his pike. I then played a condotta, a Venetian condotta, which was very interesting. Big commander stradiots, and he bought the English longbowmen, and you're only allowed them for 1 year. And I'm a bit dubious about that. I think that might be an error. And then just a wall of mounted men-at-arms and a few heavy infantry, but his men-at-arms are no match for mine. Just went straight through him like a knife through butter. And my cavalry shot the my light cavalry shot up his Albanians, then charged in front rank elite, a couple of the Serbs, and that was the end of the Albanian command. So that was a very quick game. I then played a Constantinian Byzantine, which I have to say was almost, he was a lovely bloke. And to be playing me at that stage where I've got 2 wins, he must have had a couple. He must have been a reasonable, good player, but there's just no advantage against me on the basis that he can't shoot my knights because he's mediocre, and I'm +2 protection, and I'm elite.
It's not happening.
In combat, I'm always 1 ahead of him, regardless of what happens. Even if I'm injured, I'm 1 ahead of him. So, I think I would say, if I look at a theme for my competition, it was about terrain. I know Dave talked earlier about suffering from impassable. I love impassable and marsh because I just shut the entire table down. They ended up blocking one. Is
that a thing? Because you've got this is a mounted army, but you're saying you quite like shutting the table down.
Well, because there's virtually nothing other than, say, Swiss Pikeman that will stand in front of those knights. So if I can create a bowling alley down the middle, and I can put, and even the Zecklers aren't bad frontally. That gives me a line of sort of eight heavy cavalry, and if I can soften it up with a line of the handgunners were really good in front because they'll poke holes in enemy knights. And then the other thing is I will charge through with the Serbs to clear enemy lights in front. So my guys go in unhindered, and the Serbs make great flank attacks. So
the Serbs start behind the knights and then charge through them to clear off enemy skirmishers, and then the knights move up and charge in.
Absolutely.
Move up and avoid getting shot by.
It helps. And the big light cavalry battery is probably too big. I think with hindsight, I'd reduce it down. You can still have 2 more knights in this if you wanted it. They can't be elite, but you can have German and Bohemian knights. So with a little bit of jiggery pokery, you could get yourself to 8 heavy knight impact, which has a sort of flavour all of its own, basically. I didn't come across any heavy metal, really. I mean, the late Imperial was close. My last game, though, my last game was against a feudal French, and it wasn't a great game. He put a load of absolutely masses and masses of terrain on the table, and actually it was one of those games, if I'd been playing in the UK, I would have said to my opponent, should we just start again? Because what it created was a funnel that neither of us were prepared to go into, because whoever went in was going to end up overlapped at the far end. So it was just a game, and excuse my French, of dicking around. It was just and we ended up with a draw, not particularly high scoring either. But no, it was feudal French. He had
mounted, elite, mounted.
No, he had 9 impetuous medium knights. He had 4 heavy foot spear. He had 2 elite crossbow pervice, two medium swordsmen of some sort, and then a shed load of lightfoot skirmishers. And he put down brush, wood, waterway, impassable. I mean, it was just, it was ridiculous. It was one of those games where, we should have just said no. Let's not bother playing.
Okay, so you were sort of fortunate that you had stuff that 6 knights, 8 knights could hit without getting jumped on out of terrain, I guess, because you've not got any terrain ability. But did you end up? How did you deal with? Did you end up defending because you had good initiative, and did you go for step, or did you just not put much down? Did it not really fall?
So if I won the initiative twice, I put down step and minimal terrain. The Condotta I played in the mountains and managed to move all the terrain back onto his baseline, which meant it just meant meant he ended up having to deploy in half the table, so I knew where he was. Against the Constantine Byzantine, he chose to attack me in the steppes.
It doesn't really matter against that. You're just better than that, aren't you?
Well, but he chose a marsh, quite a big one, and I managed to move it. So again, I blocked half the table. So he spent a good amount of time trying to reorganize his army. And against Against the Ottoman, I had no train. I had no train on my side of the table, so it was, and he knew he had to come to get me, against so the French was the most difficult, and I did stupidly put some light cavalry into a wood that got mugged by Lightfoot, and that will happen. That will happen. But I was trying to make a game of it, so I was sending troops through the woods effectively. But yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't really suffer badly from it. I think if I was going to, the fault with the army from my perspective is it hasn't, the command's wrong. It needs a brilliant general in there, and possibly reorganizing the second sub-command so that it's smaller. It's just metal, basically, because that's got an integral general in with the knights.
Scary. It does need a brilliant, doesn't it?
Unreliable generals, included generals, and unreliable generals.
Yeah, I've got two included, Dave, and maybe I'm not as risk averse as you. I only did one flank attack as well, so I'm probably more risk averse than you, I should say. So Okay.
Well, I think that subject of included generals then probably gets us on to me and Dave, doesn't it? Are you still there, Dave? Are you on muting?
So I've been muting because I've been making a bit of noise.
Well, that's old man's problems, isn't it? Really happens to us all. It does. Yeah.
Is this Mr. Allen's list?
I think they were the same, weren't they?
Really? How did that happen?
Yeah. Well, I convinced you that this was the future.
Well, they were similar, but not the same.
Not the same, were they?
No.
Okay.
Dare I whisper it? I think Richard Case has decided that U2's armies is the future. He might have been.
No, I think this is the same.
When we
Dave.
get to Burton, this is going to be my line when we go to Burton.
No, this is exactly the same.
Is it? Pikeman. Hang on a second.
Was this your?
Only slightly. You had a crossbowman with your halberdier command.
Wow.
No, I don't. I have a crossbowman. No, you've got a crossbowman as well. You've got a Lightfoot crossbowman there.
Yeah, no, I had Lightfoot crossbowman with the 4 pike command. And the handgunners with the halberdiers and the big pike command.
I had the two. Yeah, I had the two.
Yeah, so it's similar. Well. Very close to the
literally
same.
Very similar, as in identical. Yeah. With our 3 included generals, including a brilliant general, which is somewhat unusual, it must be said, for anyone. And this was kind of my. In fact, I've just literally finished the reports. They'll be out by the time this comes out from Warfare, where at 220 point, an only slightly larger army swept all before it. And I think then you were skeptical about this, and then we played a game down the club, and you were like, "Oh, hell, that's ripped you a new one, hasn't it?" It was quite a painful experience.
Either one of these would have caused me serious trouble. I mean, I think even though I've got so much shooting, I'm going to end up having to fight it at some point with a mobile army, even if I end up sitting on my baseline with the numbers.
But just to explain, this army is 11 pikemen, 6 of which are elite. It's the full 6 light infantry, 4 of which are elite handgunners and 2 of which are normal crossbowmen. It's 4 halberdiers split between the first and the last command, and then it's a light cavalry crossbow who sort of sits at the back and only really gets involved if there's someone's breaking through the army, just to try and it's basically either that or you have a fortified baggage really with the light cavalry crossbowmen, and it gives you a rather bizarre initiative for an entirely infantry army of +3. But your compromise is and the 22 units quite big as well, given 11 of them are a pikeman and 4 of them are halberdiers. But the downside is you've got 3 included generals, and you've not got a lot of width, and you've got very, very little shooting. But so Dave, you got off to a better start over the first few games than I did. You started badly. Okay,
I had a terrible start.
Okay.
First game I had was against that French ordnance that Dave played, and it was a disaster. Putting down the the impassable, just gave him free shooting as I tried to walk past it. And I very nearly got to those, nearly got to those artillery, but I was stupid beyond belief. But the really bad thing was not recognising the medium sword longbowmen as what they were.
Yeah.
Until I attacked them uphill with my general. Oh, God. And he died. Okay. He died. So, first of 3 occasions when he died.
Oh, God.
So, yes, that was... I did a lot of damage to him, though. I got 25 points out of that game, so I got 3/4 of his army.
Okay.
But
a self-imposed catastrophe. Yeah.
So this army suits my style of play. The only thing I think is missing from it is having a couple of bow units that you can hide in between stuff and shoot, and then shoot from safety. I was
looking at that as well. Are there any bow units in the Swiss? Are they allowed any crossbowmen?
No, you might have. Is there an ally in one of the later ones? I'm just grabbing the book to have a look. So
no, I don't think so.
Can you not have a crossbowman at all?
No.
And have you both got as many light foot as you can have?
The maximum,
exactly. This is the maximum. That gets you the extra point.
And what's the initiative? The initiative, I mean...
Three.
That's pretty good.
3's astonishing, all foot.
That army on the screen has got a brilliant 2 competence.
Which gives you +2, and then it's got 6 light foot and a light horse, which gives you another +1.
The command must 4.
The command is 4, yeah.
Right, so why don't you have 2 brilliant?
Because if you've got 2 brilliants included, they're a bit too risky, and the commands don't have much to do. There's not really enough to do with a brilliant general.
So Dave, you said you lost. How many times did your medium foot general die?
At least 3, possibly 4.
And so, including the practice game against me before we went, that's 5.
Yeah.
All killed by medium foot cross longbow.
But in the last game, they wiped out, that command wiped out 3 of his medium sword longbow before I was so successful.
In one of the 5 games.
Sorry? Yeah.
One of the 5 games.
Yeah. I thought having the halberdier commander with the pole arm, because that command's only got 2 pikemen and it sort of sits near terrain. The halberdiers go in terrain. So my theory was the 2 pikemen are just going to not do much. You're not going to get the advantage of the general. The polearm guys, the 3 medium swords, are going to be going in terrain, taking on longbowmen, swordsmen, armugavars, all sorts of stuff. So having 3 of them with polearm, one of whom's elite and he's the general, it just gives them that extra bit to knock a hole through something. And those are the units that are going to move. I thought the 2 pikemen are just going to get becalmed and possibly beaten, ground down, but you're not going to be able to spend the general's pip on them. But the general's pip's always going to be useful on them.
3 halberdiers are always going to get outnumbered by.
So what you could have, you're allowed if you, I'm presuming, is this a Burgundian? Oh, this is the 1400 one. But if you go for the Burgundian one, you can have 2 light guns. So Dave, as you saying about
Lorraine Knight, though, that's the problem. Because
you have to have the Knight. Yeah, okay.
So suddenly you're taking 20 points out of it, which is 2 more pipes.
Yeah.
But what you also find is that the problem with having 2 light guns for this arm is that, as Tim has already described, the idea of the army is to rush forward.
Yeah,
and that slows you down immediately. Yeah, because you can't move. Yeah.
You've got to plough on to keep going until you run out of troops and your army disintegrates.
Yeah.
So but the second game was against that Constantinian Byzantine you faced, Hugo Carmona.
Yeah.
And he's a nice guy, but I just throw nothing but 1s and 2s every time he shot it. I still managed to get about 2/3 of his army, but eventually, you can't. You charge him with a damaged pike, and he 6-1s you, and the pikeman's gone because he's got a full charge.
I've got a bone to pick the rules out because I think the fundamental thing, pike will always get butchered by cavalry bows. They can never catch, and the pike are unprotected, so they just get shot.
Cavalry bow, I'd have charged off the table. He didn't know where he was getting out of the way. I mean, I got close to his start line before he killed me. So.
Yeah, I think I almost got baggage. I might have got baggage once, and I almost got baggage 2 or 3 other times.
You were really unlucky against the Byzantine, Dave, because he's shooting at you, and his bow fire is mediocre.
Absolutely.
So you must have been throwing some seriously shite dice.
Absolutely. I mean, it was just one of those games where, halfway through you're thinking, I just can't. Even if I catch him now, I'm not going to do any damage.
Yeah, you're going to lose. It's just one of those things. Yeah.
Oh, Hugo, if you're listening, you got lucky.
You got lucky. Everybody, I got lucky as well in the game. So
it swings and roundabouts.
I think it was a really brave thing to bring the Constantine Byzantine, and particularly with no knights. I was expecting at least. I think you can have some Normans. I was expecting at least some medium knights in there, but no, he'd gone for all heavy cavalry, lance half bow, or medium cavalry lance half bow. And admittedly, no, it's not because actually they're really expensive, Dave.
They're really expensive, yeah.
So it's not. It's a bit of a curate's egg. It's neither one thing or another. And he also had four of the mixed spear bow and a couple of Varangians in there, and the Varangians are all right, but on their own, then there's nothing there. And I mean, I found with the Heavy Knights impact, I went over the mix.
Yeah, you would do straight away because they're mediocre.
Bow bump like speed bumps.
The Varangians are only ever any good if they're in with a load of other. Basically, if they're sitting there.
It was a brave choice, and he played against me really well, considering that I just blanked off half the table, with terrain. But against Dave, I mean, I think Dave, you were really unlucky.
So did your luck turn in the next game then, or?
That was a medieval Hungarian, and it was a bit different to yours. It had foot in it and things. Everything just went right. I mean, the terrain fell well for me, so it was quite a narrow, open part of the table I got. And to be honest, I don't remember a lot about that game because it kind of topped and tailed by two really memorable games.
Right. Okay. But so what was the next one you
got
did?
A win there, and then by this time I was just catching up with Tim and Gordon, and I got Robin Jackson's Later Byzantine, and that was now I remember what happened with the medieval Hungarian. He had a brilliant general with impetuous knight, and when he rolled a 1 or a 2, he had a choice of holding them or moving other units in the command. Eventually it came to the point where he had to move the other units in the command, so he had to charge with the pikeman. With a heavy knight.
Dave, if he hadn't gone for the Black Army, then he'd gone for the early Hungarian, which is all the elite impetuous knight.
And Robin had a later Byzantine with, I think, 6 or 7 heavy knight impact ordinary. And so then those, I feel quite comfortable about charging those with the pike block. Because they're not elite, so you're coming in, you're evens or overlapping or a general.
Well, the general's going up,
and eventually tackling with those. The pike sticks to business. I can't remember what was there was some infantry in the army, but it got taken out fairly quick. And then the condottieri, the Venetian one, which had the impact medium sword impact elite Almogavars.
Oh no, that's not. I didn't play that one. That was a different one.
No, that's a weird one.
I know. What? Okay.
Yeah, where did they come from? So is that in an ally then in the condotta?
No, it's yes, it is. It's the Catalan Company ally.
Okay.
For the Venetians, yes.
And so that was.
Was that a surprise? Did you not see them coming? Essentially.
Well, no, I knew they were coming because somebody else had played it and grassed him up beforehand.
All right. Okay.
They didn't have a lot of impact. They didn't have a lot of play in the game, and I can't really remember what happened there.
All right. Oh, okay. Then. That's good. That'll work.
Those condotta lists are really, really difficult to second guess because there are so many allies. You can have so many different variations. Even if you know it's a Venetian, you can add all sorts of things. So until you actually, as you say, Dave, unless someone else has played it and you've seen it on the table, it's really difficult.
Neapolitan gets two Almogavars, doesn't it, already? And then, but you can get more in some other things.
It can have just about any sodding one. Like total point doesn't work as an army.
And I think I remember that game now. I think it was the game where I charged my halberdier general uphill into a light infantry javelin and got 6 six wand.
I think I did that to you before you went to Alicante.
There is a
with a light infantry javelin.
Yes, I did. Yeah. Elite light infantry javelin, 6 ones you.
Yeah.
There is a theme here, Dave, about hills and generals and charging up.
And stuff,
Maybe you need a tattoo on the back of your hand that just says "Don't do it."
Don't do it.
Oh, absolutely.
Keep careful.
But surprisingly, that command without a general got to move each of the next 3 turns, which means I didn't roll a 1 or 2 for it, unlike himself.
God. Okay. And then there was a final game, was it, or was that the last one?
Yeah, no, the final game was David Roesti's 100 Years War English.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
No mounted.
Yeah.
All either two blocks of 4 medium sword longbow on the flank.
Yeah.
And across the middle, a long line of foot knights and armoured men-at-arms.
Yep.
And he had I don't know if it was 1 or 2 generals included. No, there was 1 general included because he had Henry V as strategist.
Yeah.
And so that was like that. Right, I'm going to hit that with my pikes.
Yeah.
I can put his list on the screen if you want it.
Yeah. And then the nice thing about it was that the light infantry really did the work here. They were amazing.
Yeah.
I had 2 light infantry crossbow protecting my left flank, and every time he shot them down, I rallied them up the next turn.
Oh no! So you were playing the swingy luck Swiss then, really?
Yeah, absolutely. And when I hit the line of men at arms and so forth, he rolled a 1 for his general, including general, and I rolled something like a 5 or a 6, 5. So he's elite and a general and 2 hit, and then rolled a 2. But but that was it. And on the other side, the halberdiers did the business at the top of a hill.
Yeah. They didn't meet any dangerous light infantry for at the time.
No, their light infantry were amazing because he marked 4 medium sword longbow up to these 2 light infantry. Oh no, up to the hill. I put the 2 light infantry over, shot him to no effect, and then he shot me to no effect himself.
Right.
And then he charged them, and they stood.
Yeah.
Because if they'd evaded, he'd have come over the hill and he'd have had the advantage.
Yeah.
They stood. I thought, right, well, they stand, they die. He can't pursue past the crest, and they survived.
Oh wow, yeah.
So yes, and I eventually I got him in. I got the halberdiers in amongst his medium swordsmen, his mediocre medium swords. By that time I was taking flank attacks, and it was all.
And that's when having the general really makes a difference.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Allen, you submarines into the top.
Absolutely, yeah.
You bobbed up like someone pushed underwater in the back.
Classic central London.
Yeah, big submarine. Yeah, I did kind of, I don't know what mine was called. It was like a U-boat, I think, for a U-shaped thing. So. Using this exact same army. My first game was against a guy playing Serbs who was pretty new, and he'd taken kind of the early Serbs. So it was
medium knights.
Medium knights, yeah. It was like there were 2 commands which both had 5 impetuous medium knights, but only one of which was elite. So there was a block 10 impetuous knights in the middle, and then I was trying to work out if this was going to be a flank march or something. And he had loads of stuff in ambush, but behind I think a rough hill somewhere, it was on table. It was a medium knight impetuous and 2 medium cavalry impact was a little flank march thing that was on table that kind of popped out where I was expecting some light horse or something, and I wasn't too worried, and then suddenly like these 3 dangerous things come out on my flank, which was annoying. But 10 impetuous knights, I just marched up to them, and he was like, I was going to charge him, and he charged me to try and sort it out and see what's going to happen, and that was it really. And they got stonked. And then I played that guy with the Ottomans that I think Dave, you said you played as well. Alaman, yeah, Tony. And the terrain, I think I was attacking in the mountains because the Ottomans have mountains, and all my terrain was brilliant. It went down the sides. I created a proper bowling alley, and then he got 2 enormous pieces of brush, which you can get in mountain, which were like as big as your hand, and they both fell right in the middle in the central sector, like on the halfway line, and then he moved them to an even better place. So across the entire 30 base width of the table, there were 2 strips of clear terrain, 2 bases wide, wide. So there's only 4 bases wide of clear terrain across the whole table. And I didn't know he was going to have the Ayalas, because that's mental. And so I was thinking, oh, well, there'll be a few, his cavalry can't go in the terrain either. He'll have 3 or 4 Janissaries, and I've got 4 halberdiers, some elite light foot. So I'll just try and shovel my pike through these 2 block columns and support their flanks with the halberdiers. It was a ridiculously ballsy plan that relied on him not having really great command and control and a strategist for Ottoman, whatever they were called, and the Iolas. I shouldn't have done it. I should have just sat on the back edge and said, look, you put that terrain down, it's your problem, you come and get me. But then I'm not sure we would have had a game at all. And my Swiss are Swiss, so I thought I'd give it a go, and it didn't work at all. Then I played Uwe with another Ottoman army that also had the Ayola, and the table really sort of swung round, but in the end, I nearly got his baggage, but I ended up just hanging on because my army just got too stretched, just too pulled apart, and I couldn't catch shooting cavalry, and I kept getting shot down, and his Eolas did a lot of damage, and it was just a bit of a mess. So I barely hung on for not losing that one. And in the final, fourth game now, a Burgundian ordnance, and I was thinking, brilliant, this will be a nice small heavy metal army with quality knights, and it'll all be in one little block. And it had a Yorkist ally with 4 longbowmen, a foot knight, and a heavy polearm sat in the middle. And then it had, I think, 4 longbow as well. So it was like 8 longbow, some foot knights, some swordsmen, some heavy, it was just a long line of sort of stuff. So I ran up to it, and it just shot away my skirmishers and then shot away my pikemen, and I piled into it, and the swordsman longbow just beat me. And I don't think he maneuvered at all. There was nothing going on. I teed my army up properly, ran at it, and just got shot to bits by 8 longbow and a couple of crossbow and stuff, and just lost in combat, and lost from shooting, which was fun for him. And then I played a Condotter army that was very Albanian, I think an Albanian ally, 5 light horse javelin elite, on a table in which he managed to sweep away all the terrain. There was nothing at all, almost nothing at all. I had 1 bit of rough in the middle of my deployment zone on the back edge, and I actually decided to try and do that thing where you anchor yourself on that and swing round. But my pike just got so stretched trying to push these 5 elite light horse Albanians off table, because they can nip round the back and they're quite dangerous and they could squirt away. And I just didn't, by the time I chased them off the back, or chased to the back, I didn't really have enough stuff to cover the table on the narrow frontage. And then combat just didn't work at all. I managed to get 2 included generals with pikemen into a line of dismounted foot knight with an overlap. So I'm like 3-1, 3-1, 4-1 on the overlap, and they just ground to a halt. And then my brilliant general included got killed in a matchup with a 3-hit foot knight, which was just like, that was, and I got beat in that one, but it did take 10 turns for me to lose. And then I played, Dave, I rounded this off by finishing off against the Hussite guy that you played in the very first game. Daniel Garcia,
Portuguese
guy. And so I gave him a very narrow gap in which to deploy, and he was like, you realize mine is a very defensive army? And I was like, yep. And he deployed in the very narrow gap, and I walked into it and killed him, because pikes are really, really good against war wagons. They're kind of the best there is.
Did you have an idea that basically war wagons should be the same fact pike?
Yeah, he was saying that it was unfair that pike were +2 against war wagons +1 when everything else is 1-all. And I was like, well, something's got to be good against it.
I don't know though. Why the hell are pike really good against a war wagon? Is it?
Why are they better than anyone else?
Do they poke through the holes and just?
They're not really better than anything else. I mean, pike are just standard at 2. I mean, everything else fights at 1, and actually the war wagon only fights well if it gets either gets the internal overlap, or it manages to get battle ready. If you catch it when it isn't battle ready, it's screwed. So because it's then it's fighting on a 0. I mean, and I have debated it on the forum a bit, and I can see the point that it should be slightly better, but its natural enemy, if you like, is foot knights, and actually against foot knights, it's not bad.
Yeah, they're all right. They're probably too good against foot knights, aren't they?
Possibly so. Yeah. And I think
a Hussite army has just got to sit there and hope people lose by losing against attacking.
Yeah, exactly.
Beat your army.
If you made Hussites better, I think it would make the entire competition circuit much shitter.
The Hussites can only win if God is on their side.
Yeah. But no, there is a variant where you take minimum wagons and you put the two guns in it, and then you buy all the Hussite cavalry, and you buy the fanatic peasants, and suddenly the thing becomes a completely different army.
Yeah,
because you're effectively
you might as well take Hungarians then, really. But
it's got fanatic peasants.
Yeah, true.
No,
you might as well.
It's got fanatic peasants. Yeah.
Although you have got the two light guns in the in the wagons. So yeah, but it becomes effectively a later Hussite sort of a rampaging to Taborite type thing.
This means war.
On the Saturday night, we've skipped over that. We did go to our favourite restaurant in Alicante, which I'm not sure anyone can remember the name of it.
No. It's got a stupid name. That's why.
It's got a stupid name. And it had the world's biggest lump of chorizo.
Yeah.
Which was just fantastic. It's like the great white whale of chorizo.
Hang on. I can give you the name and I'll be pronouncing it in really
it's got all those lovely little scallops down there, a bit like the Walrus and the Carpenter, all waiting to be
eaten by the world's biggest chorizo. And we had a normal squid and cuttlefish, which was very go.
Funny. Stop sharing.
Okay,
squid.
Go on, Dave.
There's share.
What's it going to be?
There's the squid.
Oh, there's the squid.
Oh, yeah, that's a good squid.
Grilled squid. That was good. That was a highlight.
It was good. It was good. Yeah. It was nice. Nice square plates that fit on the table, all very sensible. Lovely.
Yeah. No, I thought it was good. People. Yeah, they did fit very well. So that was nice to get into town. There we were. I think that's Paul's finger, giving us the finger right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Hey, lovely. And
Robin in the back.
Robin way in the distance.
Didn't he win a prize as well for most improved score over the course of the competition? I think that's quite a good one, actually, in terms of prizes.
I think it was more technical than that. He won a prize for the highest placed competitor in the final standings who started in the bottom 20 for world ranking. Okay. So excellent. Yeah, that's good. Is, for sure. Yeah. And then and then we had and then those of us, you had to rush off, Mark, didn't you? You had to.
Sadly so, yeah. I had an early flight one direction and an early flight the other, unfortunately. But But
then we managed to go for a rice restaurant. Went for
sort of nuclear radioactive paella or something, didn't it?
Yeah. Ta-da! There it was. Yeah, you can zoom in on that, Dave. It was kind of a very weird colour, wasn't it? It was sort of a vegetable green. But,
right.
Yeah. But it was lovely, and it wasn't paella because we're not in Valencia.
It's
rice. Rice with some sort of animal ingredient.
Okay.
Probably vegetables.
Rabbit.
I mean, the Spaniards do like their carb with carbs, don't they? It was like the was it the tortilla in a bun for lunch?
Tortilla and bread for lunch. Oh, my favourite thing in the world. Yeah, that's always a good one. Good. Dave, you've got Southern League tomorrow. Saturday.
I'm playing Saturday in Oxford, one dayer.
Yeah.
And I'm taking the mighty Nabatean.
Right.
I've got an army of medium spear.
Stampeding cattle.
Medium bowman. Lightfoot bow. A command structure of 2.
Right.
The hit squad are 6 impetuous camel.
Right. Okay.
Oh, right. Okay.
I am not going to win the initiative.
No. Does the list of published armies give you hope?
Well, my first game is against Imperial Rome.
But you must have known that was coming. Is that any good?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of, and there's a lot of Osgoth, but it's interesting. But if they attack me in desert.
No, I guess not.
I'm not going to win the initiative. That's fact. Something to read that. But I think 28, so that's in itself.
Okay, all right. Then the following week, I'm going to Plymouth play Big Boys Toys, which here we go. Here's the players in the draw. So I'm using my triumvirate Roman army that you may well have seen painted in 28 mil, but everybody else has gone for something heavier, and the random draw machine has given me a draw against a Parthian army played by Harry, who's really good. So my really well painted triumvirate Romans may not be on table for all that long, which is in their first outing, which is going to be a bit grim. But Mr. Will Morris from the Hobby Bunker has got 28 mil Slave Revolt, which should be quite something to carry around, I think.
Yeah.
Quite epic.
Mark, is that the army you're your friend? Is that the guy who's got the?
No,
Jimmy's
no,
got
that's
it. Yeah.
unless he's
Jimmy's
borrowed
got
it
it.
from unless he's borrowed it from Jimmy. But
He might
I don't
have
know whether
done. It's
Jimmy.
possible.
It's possible. Otherwise, it'd be impressive if he's painted it up himself. I guess.
Yeah.
In any sort of amount of time, really. So that should be it. So that's a 4-game one and eating a bit more fish. And then after that, what's next? Is it Burton?
Beachhead.
Burton,
Oh,
yeah.
Burton. You've got Burton, haven't you?
Beachhead.
Beachhead first.
Yeah.
So who's doing
Beachhead's
Beachhead?
funny.
I'm doing Beachhead, yeah.
All 4 of us.
But
Wow.
I'm doing big boys toys, and because this is the is it two elephants,
of stuff.
2 wagons, or 2 camels, or 2 bathing machines, or something like that,
exactly.
isn't it? So I am wielding and bringing out of retirement my 28mm Hussites. So we'll see.
Wow.
See if we can get it.
So you'll be the one
actually work.
complaining that it should work, really.
No, it's just an army that I've had for 40 years that I keep on rebasing. But it started off originally playing Newbury fast play, believe it or not, which is why I have 20 wagons in 28mm.
I'm sorry.
Go there.
Wow.
20 wagons in 28mm. It's don't go there. It's just
that's 4 armies, isn't it? 3, well, at least 3.
Yeah, you can have one deployed and one on the wall.
Yeah, you can swap them out.
Yeah, I can probably do a whole competition just with the wagons. Yeah. That's the thing. But they're too lovely. Yeah. I didn't paint them. Someone else did. They're too lovely to sell. That's the problem.
Right, cool. Well, I think I'll be taking early successor to squeeze in 2 elephants and 6 of the pikemen that I've painted up over the last few years in 28. Dave A, what are you playing, big toys or little toys?
If I dismount the impetuous camel attack War Wagon,
you become impetuous medium foot, Dave.
Yes,
and you don't get ferocious charge. You don't get impact. Yeah, you get nothing. You're just basically a swordsman on a 1.
Mr. Allen, Mr. Ming the Merciless, what scale are you playing at Beachhead?
I am playing 0mm at Beachhead.
Oh, you're not going. You're skipping it.
Yeah,
there's a competition you're not doing.
It's
awkward
for me to get to.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Does that mean you're only doing 1 competition here?
Yes, it does.
Blimey!
Wow.
Yeah, I know. But
it's a holiday day.
Just getting to.
Yeah, Bournemouth.
Getting home from it on a Sunday, it's just a pain in the neck.
Just too hard.
I could drive, but it'd be even worse.
Yeah. So, Dave, other Dave, what are you taking? Are you decided yet?
What to
Beachhead?
Not
decided. You don't know yet.
No, I've got an idea.
Okay.
I've got an idea to take Macedonia.
Yeah, not a bad call. It's a long time since you've taken an army like that.
Well, having gone to Thessaloniki and visited, now you're really teeing me up.
Okay.
I went to Egai, and Alexander, and saw Philip's 2nd burial arm, all that. So thinking Macedonian coming out of the box, we need to have some hot Macedonian actors.
Get some of that. And then Burton, the 2 of you are going to Burton in 2 different teams, but you're still presumably arm wrestling over what armies to take.
Yeah, that's the position where Rich has gone, oh, I got beaten by Tim with Swiss.
Yeah.
Pike are really, really, really good.
300 points of Swiss.
Yes.
You may well get Paul Dawson thinking the same thing.
There's only one option to take to Burton. I mean, if they include Tamil in the armies,
that's your army, isn't it? You just take that instead. Yeah, that's it. Good. Okay. Well, look, I think that's the competition-y bit done, really. We've still got, it's only 20 past. Should we do a quick run over what we're painting and what's doing, and then we're sort of done and dusted? Is that reasonable? Yeah. All right. Well, look, let's have a return and see what people have been up to on the old painting. Mr. Allen, has there been any view? It's normally rebased, some discovered in a cupboard redone, because you redid those Swiss quite tightly. With snow effect.
Yeah, that took a lot of work. Nice. I'm going to Pamplona, which is the Forgotten Army.
Yeah.
And I got a large number of Chinantec pikemen from Curacao some while ago.
Right.
I actually made their spears. I made, because they've got these long spears with long obsidian
blades,
blades that make pikes. But the ones that are provided with the figures are like it's like fuse wire. So I made a bunch of those out of
brush,
out of broom.
Broom hand. Okay.
Stuck them on, spray under undercoated them, tried a wash to do the skin, and it went wrong. And I thought, so I left them on home for about a year and a half.
You're going to have to paint them properly.
I just got them all out, got that couple of dozen out, and re-primed them. Right. And so I've got about 120 odd of those paint, plus the nobles and archers, and I'll have them ready by March the 30th.
Yeah, well, you did very well to prime on a prime today with the atmospheric conditions and the rain, I think.
Shed down the garden. We've got a lean-to, so it's not damp in there. So I just whipped them in there, sprayed them, brought them back in. Okay. But so I have them ready by the 31st. Unfortunately, the competition is on the 22nd. So
it'll be a challenge, a chin and tech challenge. All right, Mr. Saunders, what's on your painting desk as we speak?
I've still got all the 28mm samurai. My painting desk is kind of empty, although I did use Simon Ray Mayer's Hayton organic stripper.
Yeah, biostrip.
Biostrip. Strip off some outposts.
Is this the stuff where he pees in a bottle and gives it to you?
Yes, that's basically.
It smells of kangaroos. It's like fermented.
You taste, you platter it on.
Yeah.
It's available on. I'm not going
to.
Fascist people from America's website.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that worked quite well. So I'm repainting some old one of my original armies, Outpost Mamluk.
Okay.
Good fig.
Yeah. Did you drill out the spears on those? Because my Outpost Gulam type cavalry, the spears
the mace on the cavalry. He's got a mace. He doesn't have a.
No, not at all. No.
But I've just literally put in an order tonight for a load of Swiss.
Okay, yeah.
I'm regretting. No, it's not a load. No. There was the potential to get a lot of Swiss, which I'm kind of glad I did do. Because
after I did that debacle.
Stonings are really, really nice, but I need to bulk that out. But I've obviously got cavalry. Mr. Kurisan was very, very nice. And,
I just put an order in with him 2 days ago for the nobles for the.
Well, he's doing well out of us at the same.
Yeah.
Because I tried to use his website for one that didn't work. I had some numerous conversations by email today and said I'll try again with another browser.
Yeah. But the Kurisan Swiss mix well with Merleton and also with the Donington ones. You can get a really nice mix, but the angle of the pikes seem to work quite well. So you get good.
That's the idea, is a bit of variation. That's Tim did. I think Tim, your little handout you gave to people.
I did this handout that I gave to my people to show them what each general was, because once you've got all these different included generals with different flags, it's really easy to confuse people, and you don't want them going, I didn't realise that's a general, I'm not going into combat against him. So I gave them this so they'd have no excuse, but it had the Peter Pigman being rude, who was the commander.
They're good.
But that figure appears to have disappeared. There's like discussions on the Peter Pig forum. I was like, I can't find that pack, and they're like, we don't know where it's gone. They've got Napoleonic men pulling moonies, but the medieval man pulling a moonie and the medieval man giving the finger seem to have just dropped off their website. So maybe I will poke them and see if they regenerate. A bit.
I couldn't resist at least 3 of the Kurisan Swiss death figures.
Yeah.
They me going on a plastic sheet saying that's my brilliant general, the one with death front, or even 3 deaths.
The dead general for each one. Okay. And Mark, what's on your table? Are you still chewing away at the rules for Pendragon as well?
I'm still. They're in being proofread at the moment. This is the Future War ones they're in. So we've had a few comments back, but they're due for release, print and sale at Salute. So that's April. So that's good. And I've done up to my ears in army lists, of course, as always. That's rules are easy, folks. Army lists. Terrible. I finished rebasing.
Me and Simon are going to have a go at that next Thursday.
I'd appreciate the feedback. Simon's talking about rewriting the whole thing, so if you can just calm him down a bit.
It's too late. If it's April, yes, done.
Well, it's in with an editor, so we've gone for. Sure. So we'll be able to put proper indexing in, both sort of alphabetically and by numbers. So look into that. I painted a very large.
If you've got an army list to send over something.
I can send you some. I can do that.
Whatever.
Yeah, definitely. You can do that, Tim. I've painted a very large 3D print Truebuck for my, or trebuchet, I should call it, sorry, for my...
I was going to say, is this some 40k thing? A true buck?
Yeah, no, a trebuchet for my Huttites. They're allowed a heavy artillery piece, and it's one of the few armies where they actually specifies you're allowed a trebuchet. So I've got that. And the other stuff is I'm painting these rather lovely, and you can't really see them, but these are a new manufacturer called Checkpoint, and they are a guy called Mark Dixon, and they're 28mm Sumerians, and they're absolutely beautiful. I mean,
they are much more. They look much more dynamic than most Sumerian figures. Most just tend to be sort of stood there with big square shields.
Yeah, these are the guard infantry. So with the axes, so they've got the big shields, but they've got hand axes to go with it as well. These particular ones. So that's my.
Wasn't there a guy who did the Museum Z range Sumerians, and then somebody sells them scaled up to 28 as well?
Oh, I don't know that.
I think so. I think that's
right.
I
mean, these look as if they've been digitally sculpted. It's difficult, difficult to see from here. But they are they're quite chunky, but nice, and they're compatible with the Foundry ones as well. The New Line ones a little bit small, but they'll fit in. But they're good. They'll fit in. And the Chariots and the Onagers. So that is that's arrived, and I'll be fielding it with an early Assyrian ally. As why wouldn't you? Basically, so load of elite impact medium swordsmen. So
actually, that just makes me think. I've not seen anything about a New Line sale this year, because there's normally one about. But looking at the website, the chap says I will be having a cataract operation on 22nd of January, which is good luck. He's done it. Hopefully that all went well. So not processing orders for a week. So maybe that's why there's no sale, because he's not really got the the capacity to do it. Well, all the best to him. So that's nice little figures those are, aren't they?
Yeah, they're nice figures. I'm also painting some 15mm 12th, 13th century knights ready for Helsinki.
And where are they from? Which company are they from?
They're Merlaton. They're the Merlaton, they're the Teuton stroke sort of German, with the separate shields, 50mm separate shields, separate lances, all that kind of stuff. But they do paint up beautifully.
They do, they're really, really nice figures. Helsinki will come around quite quickly. Certainly from my point of view, I've just got 60 50mm forged in battle horses, which are just about done. But I've done the horses for these Byzantines, as I just never really had any decent Byzantine cavalry. I had some Essex ones, which were so I'd looked at them for 25 years and I was like, sod it, I'm selling them. They've got no life or dynamism to them, those Byzantine ranges at all. So I've shifted them, and then I've just got that, when you get a bit of a block, and I've got all of these little Byzantine cavalry riders. So I've finished the horses, I'm going to base the horses, but the riders, it's like there's so much metal on them, metal armor, and the way I do metal armor is I paint it black and then I dry brush it in silver. But then that feels like two sets of effort to do because I've been painting 28s, these teeny tiny little figures, and because there's 60 of the buggers and they've all got armor, and painting black, I find the black paint tends to go a bit gloopy quicker than other paints, and you can't, it's just a miserable thing. You end up black all over your fingers that doesn't wash off. So I'm just thinking, when will I actually like myself start doing this long necessary process that doesn't get towards finishing the figures? Painting the spears or painting the helmet plumes or the cloaks, you feel like you're achieving something, but this is like painting in black, and I'm going to have to do them. And I'm thinking, is there a way that you paint them silver and then put a black wash over them? Does that work as well? I'm not sure it does.
They're not. Okay, so are they the thematic?
Yeah, I think they're the thematic ones.
Thematic cab. So what I did, grey and black, and dry brushing with gunmetal. And pick out bits with a bit of bronze and a bit of silver and things like that. And what I always think now is like putting in white every now and then. I mean, what I did with my first Byzantine armies, I just gave them a colour scheme. But I think
it's difficult to work out what colour scheme to give them, isn't it? But I think a lot of the guys will end up with white, which is why I've got them partly why I've got them undercoated in white. I think they want quite light colours, but there's not much colour on them, is there?
No, I mean, so with riders, I tend to stick them not on the horses, but stick them onto a piece of dowel as if they're riding the dowel, and that works quite well. And then, as Dave says, I tend to dry brush them, spray them black, dry brush them, quite liberally, not even worrying too much about with the gunmetal type stuff, and then use the white to pick it. I then white everything that isn't gunmetal, and then use a wash on it. And it means that they're bright. The problem with the black undercoating stuff is it's fine for nights and things, but with something like the Byzantines, which should be quite bright, it dulls them down a bit.
Things I did some Roman, an early Byzantine, like a couple of units of them, and I did them with white undercoat. So you want to be consistent with it. I've got a really good way of doing leather at the show, but I've got some really nice looking little figures, but you just got to be consistent with it. So I know I can do it. It's my normal way of doing it, but it's just that psychological thing of 60 of the buggers where you're going to start doing a part of the process that isn't going to move you towards completion, really, or it doesn't feel like it.
Happy say they own and that's what my Justinian Byzantine armies. They're the elite, they're the medium, they're the not elite like that. But I think thematic come with transfer shield.
No, not for cavalry.
Really?
No, they just come for the and then I've also got this that I need to undercoat, which is going to be a wind golem proxy for Malifaux. It's this enormous figure that I bought as a 3D print. It's not the real one, it's a proxy one. But I bought one that's too big. The rest of the figures are about 28 mil, and this is actually here's a 28 mil figure. So it's quite, but it's quite it's on a 50 mil round base, and it will look quite imposing. It will keep my opponents focus. Because I did actually play on Tuesday night, and I'm starting to almost remember how to play against people who are 30 years younger than me. It's just like very scary. Who know all the rules inside out. So that's about that.
There seem to be a number of manufacturers sadly sort of biting the dust, which I think is a bit of a thing. So you've got sort of fighting 15 stopping casting. You've got Aventine have just been sold as well, so it'd be interesting to see what happens there.
Okay, because they were just packing up, weren't they, about a year ago?
Yeah. So I don't know who's bought it and where it's going. Hopefully, it won't be the States in the nicest way, but we'll have to see. And then, of course, you've got Magister Militant gone.
They finished today, haven't they? And they've still not found a buyer for their 15 mil ranges. I saw something on Facebook saying 1,400 molds for the 15 mil historic stuff, and they wanted 30 grand for it. Yeah,
it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
It is. And I think, bear in mind, a lot of them, the old Chariot ones, which some of them are nice, some of them are not so good. Yeah. It's quite a mix. I mean, the kind of, someone like Alternative Armies or Fighting 15s probably would have bought them historically.
But not that sort of
money. No. And I think, the other thing is, the good news, though, is you've got Outpost back. Someone's bought Outpost, I think, and they're selling a lot on eBay. So, and which is great to see the figures back.
I suppose the risk is that with some of these, that they get bought by people who are not capable of running the business.
Yeah, I mean,
it's happened a few times, hasn't it?
It has, and it's interesting. So, someone bought all the 6 mil Dark Realm sci-fi stuff, which was brilliant, but it's just disappeared. I mean, no one's got any idea where it is and what it's doing. Yeah. So, that's a bit of a challenge. But so it'd be interesting to see what happens. But there are new manufacturers like this Checkpoint guy coming in with 28s, and there's some good stuff coming out 3D print.
Of course,
there's a guy, I think it's called Berserker Miniatures, who's got a stunning range of medieval Indians in 28 mil. Elephants with all the proper sort of housing, like what did it? Sort of Raj type stuff. Mogul stuff. Really nice.
More temptation then, but I think we're still vaguely resistant 3D printing. Not in just because we've got so much bloody stuff that we don't really have a compelling need to buy much 3D printing thing. But we never kind of moved on with that guy next to your flat, have we, Dave?
No.
I've just got so much in the painting pile.
He's got so many orders going on.
He doesn't need to do anyone a favour.
All I need to do is get some of the red copper Arab swordsmen, because there's a dearth of swordsmen in all across all manufacturers. You know what I mean? Everything's spit. Everything's spit. So an Arab, to do the figures be impetuous. You need 6 bases of arrow in pet foot and it's on, and be dismount as well.
Yeah,
that's where I think I will start
with some 3D stuff.
Yeah, that's I'm kind of you're right. I'm not against it. The one thing I'm going to miss is I've only been playing 15 years. Is I've only discovered fighting 15 the last.
Oh yeah, so that's gonna be a big plot.
Big lot of respect for that. Those gladiator South American figures, I would love to done a couple of armies.
Yeah. But it might be that once he's finished, Ian's finished I think he's casting some fishing weights at the moment. He's had an order to cast fishing weight for someone that he's doing this is an interesting project. When he's done that, he's going to work out what stock he's actually got left and put it on the website as stock. And
that'll be a feeding frenzy. Yeah,
and then that'll be a bit of a feeding frenzy for it. So we shall have to see. But yeah, because I've got an unpainted army of Aztecs or Mayans or something.
The problem with the 3D printers, they're all on basically a design figure.
Yeah,
and they're not catering for the 15mm mark.
But there is the guy, isn't there, Dave? We've talked about who's got those Chinese armies that are appearing.
Mick Hood is selling them all on.
He goes big on them.
And 10,000.
I mean, you can tell he's selling to a wargaming market, because I bought some 15mm off Etsy, and the figures, which are Carolingian figures, they're lovely. They're lovely they're the armored bowmen, so they're the dismounts for the mounted ones. They're right. They've got no bases. It's it's a nightmare. I mean, why? I don't need that, folks. And actually, you look at it and think, well, I go back to metal fighting. Everybody's going to have to base them, but also by having the base on, you've got a pull. Something you can actually.
That's actually a fairly straightforward thing to do, to create them with. It's called puddle bases, You've got to ask for puddle bases. Can I have them standing in a puddle, please?
But I think we're all going to learn this nonsense over the next.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because I'm having a range of figures sculpted for me by a sculptor who's moved to 3D sculpting. Now, he's doing it online in the nicest way. And Gareth, if you're listening, I'm not having a go at you, but if he'd done it by hand, I'd probably have the figures. Whereas it's taking we're nearly 18 months in to where we are. And
is that because that must be surely because he's learning the skill?
It is, and actually, the 10 and 15mm stuff he does, because he does sculpting for Khorasan, he does sculpting for Pendraken, are stunning, and so I am sure the 3D ones will come out looking absolutely fantastic. But is it one of those things where it's a technology, so people are using it, if you know what I mean, rather than thinking, well, actually, I could work twice as fast doing it, and do you know what I mean?
I actually think it's more likely a different set of people. It's people who are good at 3D sculpting are making figures for these things. Whereas if someone's a traditional sculptor who's learning 3D, that's just if you're good at sculpting in real, carry on sculpting in real, and then you create a new hobby of saying, I'm learning to sculpt in 3D, but it's someone picking up another skill that's complementary. But no, a lot of the ones that are out there are people who clearly just have got it, and once they've got a dolly or whatever it is in a 3D thing, it's relatively quick for them to create other extra pieces, because it is just click, click, click. They're not spending as long doing it and carving it and sticking little bits of stuff on. They're the sheer number of figures that the variations that those 15mm Chinese ones are that we looked at a while ago. Each pack has got 8 different variants, and there's 30 packs in each army, so that's 240 slightly different figures. That'd be a lot for anybody doing 15mm. That would be a good say.
It'll be interesting to see if the cost comes down, because I mean, a standard 20mm master is going to cost you about 120 quid. So typically, so it's interesting. I mean, and
that's one of the problems with 3D prints. The people who've got 5 printers in their flat printing their entire living space turnover, churning stuff out to eBay, doing the big figures for Dungeons and Dragons, stuff like that, making more money. It's doing 15mm ain't that.
I bought a load of really beautifully sculpted 6mm Star Wars what is it, Trade Alliance droids the other day on
whatever that means.
Well, sort of anyway, the thing, the Star Wars, but the thing is, they arrive with more sprue than figure. I mean, it's just so. I mean, admittedly, a 6 mil, but you just look at it and think, no, I'm sorry, that's a big mistake. They'll probably sit in the box for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Do they need They need lots of stuff clipping over or whatever it is.
That's the problem. It's the clipping, and because they're at 6 mil, there we go.
Well, I suppose there's quite a lot of stuff on eBay, isn't there? And just have a butchers on this one. Where's it gone?
Looking at this Berserker Mini.
That's the one I was saying. Yeah,
they're only available on X.
No. I'll send you the link, Dave. Yeah. It's the elephants are beautiful, absolutely stunning. Yeah. There's a Tamil medieval general on an elephant, which is just unbelievable.
Yeah, so there's loads and loads of scenery. There's some other sorts of, because you can see, I guess, with these ones, something like this 3D breed ones, they've got one body style and they must be copying it. Tank's very straightforward, and once they are pretty small. I think we do get fooled that we can see these really hyper detailed 3D renders, and then you think, but when the figures are actually looked at, they're just really tiny, aren't they? So what's this thing? So New Median Cavalry, do they look a bit ropey or not? From S-Guys, I've had some S-Guys stuff that they're like big old ugly horses, but these look a little bit better. They're obviously getting better, but would they be good enough?
The Reconquist, fabulous.
The Reconquist ones are amazing, but I don't think they scale to 15 mil.
No, they don't.
The ones I see look too skinny.
Yeah.
These would be much better as 15 mil figures. So you take 15 mil, you get how many in that pack? 7. So 7 for a $5 isn't actually that cheap, is it? Really?
Well, 7. I mean, what are you going to get? Someone like Essex will sell you 4.
8 for 4 for a $5, I suppose. Yeah, true.
Yeah, 4. They'll sell you 4 for about 3 or 4 quid, won't they? So
So March to Hell, 15 quid for 24. So
that's more realistic.
That's really good, isn't it? But you get 24 of them.
They're kind of chunky and classical war troops.
Yeah, they'd be perfectly fine.
Gordon have bought some of those, and they paint up really nice.
Yeah.
They're almost been designed for a 15 mil.
I think that's the thing. They've been designed for 15 mil, for sure. Yeah.
But I must admit that those Chinese or whatever they are,
Mongols or Khitans. Yeah.
The Khitans, aren't they? Or because I bought some of the Sung, mediocre levy sort of expendable levy figures, and they're just stunning, absolutely stunning.
10 mountains, guys.
Yes. Yeah. That's it.
10 Kingdoms, yeah.
10 Kingdoms.
So 10 Kingdoms. What you need to do with his is scale them down by 10%. Sean,
they're a little bit big.
Yeah, the ones Mick has done who's selling base done for us. They're really chunky. It'd be difficult to get 3 cavalry on a base. But
okay.
You can scale them down because with the 3D, knock them down 10%, 15%.
Yeah.
And Sean was at the club and he had some giving it, and they were noticeably smaller, and they would mix with S4s and bats. Like, we're still at early days. I think this is subject podcast.
Yeah, no, quite possibly. Yeah, well, we've given it a good old go now, and I'm conscious time's creeping on.
Ming the Marxist is looking bored.
Ming the Marxist.
I'm quite interested, but as you know, I don't buy a lot of unpainted figures.
No, you're the eBay master, aren't you?
100,000.
I haven't bought many figures of any kind for quite a while now.
Well, you've just discovered some that you packed away. You just opened another drawer.
I mean, you can't. Well, I don't have the skills to do what Phil Hackney did with the Chinamtec and to basically scratch build them up.
Yeah, that was mental, wasn't
it? Dave, Phil's trick on the spears was to glue 2 pieces of paper to the top, and then using a pair of nail scissors was to cut the so the top of the spear looked like it's got the obsidian bits attached to it by cutting little sort of sections out of it.
That's a good idea. I wish I'd thought of that.
Yeah. Here we go.
But what I've done is I've taken a broom and squeezed a flat part and then shaped it with nail scissors.
These?
The
problem
with it is that these brooms are made out of very fine strand. But if you start cutting across them, it's all going to fall apart, isn't it?
Oh no! Okay. God, even more complicated. So you've got to buy the right kind of plastic broom.
I'll just paint a shiny black edge around them.
Yeah.
And nobody will be able to see it because it's too far away.
Could you get like the plastic stuff that modelers have, scale modelers have, and squish that instead? Or no, you're done now. You've already got them undecorated.
Well, my original thought was to try and cut a slice into the blades of it that came from Khorasan and stick a needle in it, stick a pin in it. But I just couldn't do it. It just wouldn't work. So
you won't end up with it.
I've done that with some figures. I mean, there's certain, you take the chin and tech end blade bit and get a Dremel and cut a tiny hole and then put a pin in.
Yes, you can't.
You can.
It's absolutely
other people can.
To hold it all together.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
You just end up drilling your fingers, don't you? That's the half.
It's guaranteed.
How many bases of 8 figures to a base? 20 bases.
12 figures to a base, Dave. Think about it.
Oh, God. Horrendous.
The whole army sits on top of a hill, and when someone comes down the flank, it gets murdered.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not an army to win a competition. It's an army
to be forgotten. It's a forgotten army competition, and it will no doubt be forgotten.
Yes.
I think, right. Well, I think on that note, that does sound like the ideal time to wrap this up, because we're forgetting who we are and what time it is, I think. So
absolutely.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dave, Ming the Merciless Dave. And I guess it's time we shall probably slightly rotate the cast around and try and come back in maybe a month's time and get back onto a bit more of a habit of doing these, because it's kind of good, isn't it? Well, it is for us anyway. Whether anyone listens to the end, I don't know. Yeah.
See you all. Cheers.
All right. See you soon. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Bye. Bye.
Dave, with that backdrop and with your goatee beard and your apparent complete lack of hair, you do look like a kind of Marxist version of Ming the Merciless. It's
what?
a Marxist version of Ming the Merciless, but slightly more well-fed than Ming the Merciless.
Yeah, I am also sort of like, I'm clearly in another dimension, because I'm a bit vague and
you're a bit blurred, aren't you? It's either you've got a very cheap camera or you've not got very good lighting.
Yeah, the former. And also the background, because it's quite bright. Oh my God.
There you go. Oh, look at that. That's lovely. What a warm glow.
Now, Tim, what's on the calendar behind you? I mean, it's hopefully it's not sort of classic garage calendar material, or is it a photo? Is it a picture?
No, that's a picture. That's a picture of a goat.
It's a goat, right?
It's definitely a goat. We call it Dave in this house, so that makes 3 Daves on the call.
Not the dodgy calendar the guy in the bar tried to palm us off with.
Well, I'll accept being the greatest of all time, if that's what you insist.
Yeah. Okay, Ming the Merciless over in the corner, dialing in from space, which is all good. I won't make any reference to that again. No, obviously not. Right, well.